This week, President-elect Trump named his nominee for Secretary of Health and Human Services, and his choice certainly not without controversy. Tom Price, he's a congressman from Georgia. He's also a medical doctor, and he has spent his career in Congress pushing a pro-doctor agenda. One most expect that he will take him to the White House. And among his policies that have raised questions are that he has been among the most vocal who wants to repeal Obamacare. And to be fair, at least he has a plan to repeal it, whether you agree with it or not. He also wants to cancel the expansion of Medicaid. He wants to privatize Medicare. And he's also opposed to the S-chip program that gives health care to at-risk children. You got to work at that one. But there's another Price policy that has gotten less attention, but I'm very curious what this table will say about it. Price wants tort reforms when it comes to medical malpractice cases. In other words, he wants to make it a lot harder to sue doctors accused of injuring their patients. Price also supports limits on how much patients can sue a doctor for, and he also believes that anyone who sues a doctor should have to pay for the doctor's legal fees if they lose their case. All right, Mr. Von Oyst, I know you deal with something akin to this for people who've suffered injury or illness as a relate of an employer, but take the case here. He says, hey, frivolous lawsuits, everybody's suing for a hangnail because they know it's in the doctor's and the hospital's self-interest to just settle the thing as soon as possible, and as a consequence, it drives up everybody else's health costs, and that's the reason here why we pay through the nose. Why is he wrong?
He's completely wrong. First off, let me say that there's been complete tort reform in this country going on for the last probably 20 years. It's almost impossible to sue these doctors.
Well, give an idea for us who don't know. What was it like 20 years ago and what is it now?
You used to bring a lawsuit against people. You could bring a lawsuit, you bring your, do your discovery, you'd have a trial. Now, if you want to bring a lawsuit against a doctor, there's certain pleading requirements of getting another doctor to say that there was malpractice before occurred, the deviation from the standards of medical. So there has been tort reform. There's caps all over the country. If you go out to California, there's a medical malpractice cap of $250,000. Regardless, can you imagine the injuries you have people way beyond $250,000? So they like to say that for frivolous lawsuits. I think every lawyer in this country would agree that there shouldn't be frivolous lawsuits. But what they're trying to say is that almost every lawsuit is a frivolous lawsuit. So now if you're a person...
But you speak to doctors. So I'm just trying to put this in human terms. So somebody at home is saying, wait a minute, Doug. I hear doctors all the time, good doctors I know, that say, I'm getting killed here.
Rich,
look at my premiums that I'm paying through the teeth.
You just said it, your premiums. The premiums keep going up. It's the insurance companies that keep charging these doctors higher and higher premiums so that they can make more and more profit. That's what's going on here. People aren't bringing more lawsuits. When was the last time you heard of these lawsuits where people are bringing you can't win these lawsuits. Everybody knows that, look at this greedy lawyer and this lying plaintiff. That's all everybody talks about.
Well, there's the vision thing of that. The doctor tries to do a life-saving thing for you, and in the process of helping you, he does something else. And even though he saved your life here, this ungrateful patient's going to sue him because they had some pain and discomfort the next day.
So let's take that to what he was talking about, where you're going to make the person pay the other side's fees. If you're a person that doesn't have any money, or you have very little money, and now you're hurt very badly, you will never be able to bring a lawsuit. What type of person is going to say, all right, I'm really hurt badly, now I'm going to mortgage my house, and everybody will say, well, that's what you have to do. Mistakes are made. There are insurance policies. If you lose, you lose. But to say that you're making it such a high bar, nobody can actually bring a lawsuit.
And the other part that I don't know the public realizes, they say, well, wait a minute, Doug. If you're representing this patient who wants to bring a case here, if they lose, you just don't get paid.
With a lawyer?
Yeah.
Well, you have to hire experts. There's many, many expenses in a case. And as a lawyer, we can't front people pay money on. We can't do that.
And you're disincentivized to take cases if they think that if you lose, they're going to look to you to cover all the expenses.
Absolutely. Well, you're not supposed to do that. We don't have a system where a lawyer goes around saying, I'll cover all your expenses, let's see what happens. We don't have that system. So these people are technically on the hook for the expenses of the case. Whether it happens that way is a separate thing. But when you tell a patient, when you tell a person that's hurt, hey, listen, if you lose, you're going to have to pay the other side's costs. That sounds great to all the people out there, but it's not good for people that don't have means and can't get in the door and bring a lawsuit.
And just one last second before you jump in. Does this vary widely state to state currently or no?
Of course it varies widely. I mean, you have places in this country, by the way, if people don't know, where you virtually can't bring lawsuits anymore. You can't bring, tort reform has been going on and strong. There's been a strong lobby all across this country by chambers of commerce, by different associations I could say a lady burned herself with coffee and got $20 million. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody in the country, you pick a jury anywhere, that's all people talk about.
But that's different from med mal, though. I mean, I come at this from an odd perspective as a lawyer and the son of doctors. I mean, if you want to have true health care reform, Obamacare, whatever this guy is proposing, they're just Band-Aids. The cost of becoming a doctor, both in terms of going to medical school and the debt you come out with and the insurance premiums, are almost prohibitive. And there's no greater function in this society than to heal people. And if you're putting disincentives to getting the best and the brightest people to fix the sick, to help them, you have a society that's going down.
But are we
the
blaming
road.
the doctors? Are we blaming the patients? Or
No, I think
shouldn't the health insurers
Well,
also
it's a
bear
profit
liability?
incentive also, and what we're forgetting here is this: nobody wants the plaintiff attorney until your mother loses her leg when it was supposed to be the person in the bed next to her, and it's no fault of her own. And the other thing is that, look, doctors make a ton of money. That's why that's why med schools have so many people trying to go there. Secondly, the pharmaceutical companies meet with doctors regularly.
More people want to get into Wall Street
and
than
get
into
the
medical
doctors
school.
to
A lot
prescribe medications, and you see these commercials every day. Side effects include sudden death, 4 types of cancer, and homicidal and suicidal tendencies, so
But
your
the
knee
music's
doesn't
good,
swell
so,
up.
you know,
You know, so-
We as a society should prize health care more than Wall Street or more than anything else.
More
because
people
there's no
die
greater
because
duty
of,
than the
more people
Hippocratic
die
Oath.
because of doctors' errors than die at the hands of terrorism
Well, maybe that's
or war.
because the people
in
who
the
get
United
into
States
medicine
alone.
now are lousy
If
because
the
it's
main
not a
point
growth
is that these
opportunity.
doctors are being choked out because they have to pay all this insurance.
And the
well, we have to
price
look
of
at
medical
the
school.
Okay, that's fine.
You gotta
but
be
you
a
have to
resident
look
for
at these
20 years
insurance
before you start
companies.
seeing a
These
penny.
insurance companies are taking these premiums in over and over again and are making these doctors, instead of settling valid cases, they're making these doctors go on the hook and stand trial for cases they should settle.
And they're making decisions the doctor should be making on top of that.
When we come
Well, we have
back,
a two-tiered
we will
health
pivot
system
to the
then.
Garden State because Bridgegate is far from over. 2 of Christie's former top aides were convicted. You know that. Now the governor himself is on the hot seat. What's going on, you ask? Well, you know what happened in court today.